finally, some of the good stuff in terms of the weather across central and eastern Kentucky. Up next, we'll track it right on into the Labor Day weekend.
A man charged with killing his wife in Bath County last week was picked up this morning in Indiana.
Scary moments in Lexington after multiple robberies overnight. The latest on whether police think they're connected.
This is WKYT News at 4.
Good afternoon to you. Welcome to WKYT News at 4. Amber Philpott and Jennifer Palumbo reporting. We have a gorgeous blast of early fall temperatures arriving right on cue as we begin September.
Here's a live look at downtown Lexington, where it is a great afternoon to be outside. So will this continue for the holiday weekend? Let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey. Hi, Chris.
Hi, guys. Short answer to that is absolutely. We have the nice stuff out there today, and it just feels good. You walk outside, you can breathe. You don't have the steam, you don't have the humidity, and the temperatures are very nice. Look at that sky that is out there. Notice the trees here in our WKYT weather garden that are swaying a little bit. That's because you've got a nice little breeze with upper 70s to right around 80 into much of central and eastern Kentucky. Look at Maysville, 75, 77. Mount Sterling into the Moorhead area. Here's the cold front. That's the good guy in all this. It is now off to our south. A lot of thunderstorms into parts of East Tennessee, the Carolinas. But notice now we're getting in on some clouds developing behind that. That's how you know you've got some colder air aloft when into the afternoon you start to see clouds bubbling up. And that's what we're seeing right now across parts of northern Kentucky into the Great Lakes and Ohio Valley. So that's that much cooler air that is on top of the area. If you're out this evening, very, very nice. We go from 75 pre-sunset to 64 by 11 o'clock with cool temperatures and a partly cloudy sky. Say hello to Hurricane Hermine down in the Gulf of Mexico. That has a date with the Florida Panhandle. Later tonight, coming up in just a few minutes, we will track that, and I will give you a bird's eye view of what it is like to be on the shore as a hurricane comes ashore. It's a virtual view of this storm, guys, in just about 15 minutes.
We'll see you then, Chris. A Central Kentucky man accused of killing his wife is no longer on the run.
Christopher White surrendered to police in Gibson County, Indiana around 7:30 this morning. White faces murder charges in the shooting death of his wife, Judy, at their home in Owingsville last week. WKYT's Victor Puente is tracking the story from Bath County. It's our top story at 4.
Christopher White could be back in Kentucky within the next few days. The call he made this morning put an end to a search that lasted more than a week. The sheriff of Gibson County, Indiana, Tim Bottoms, told us White called them this morning saying he believed he was wanted in Kentucky. They picked him up at 7:22 a.m. without incident at a truck stop parking lot. Police have been searching for White since the morning of August 24th. That's the day his wife's body was found inside their home. Police went there after Judy White didn't show up to work that morning. They said she'd been shot multiple times. Yesterday, White's sister, Angela, talked to WKYT and begged him to surrender. She said Judy White was a great person who didn't deserve what had happened to her. She said Chris had been battling a drug addiction for years. She also said the coming months would be tough ones.
It's going to be very hard, because regardless of what he done, we love him. I mean, he's our blood. We love him very much. We know the true Chris, and that's not him.
Because White waived his extradition, state police said it's just a matter of scheduling before he'll be back in Kentucky to face that murder charge. In Bath County, Victor Puente, WKYT.
The Whites had a 16-year-old son together. The community is planning a benefit for him. Police have made 3 arrests but are still searching for 2 other men wanted for a pair of overnight robberies. The first was on Woodland Avenue, where 2 UK students were held up while walking home. An hour later, police say there was another robbery with an axe at a Waffle House on North Broadway near I-75. Lexington police, though, arrested 3 men: DeMarco Cothran, David Ross, and Desmond Keys.
A Western Kentucky University student from Lexington says someone vandalized her car on campus with a racial slur. Cheyenne Mitchell says someone keyed a racial slur into the side of her car while she was in class yesterday in Bowling Green.
I actually started crying. Like, when I walked up to my car, at first I was like in shock. Somebody really took the time to like carve this into my car and like vandalize my car in broad daylight like this, like on campus.
Western Kentucky University President Dr. Gary Ransdell released a statement saying, in part, I have communicated with the victim and spoken with her father and assured them that we will exhaust all means available to fully investigate this matter and take appropriate action. You can find the president's full statement on WKYT.com. We're working on a number of other stories for WKYT starting at 4:30.
Our Sam Digg joins us now from the newsroom with a look at some of the news in progress. Hello, Sam.
Good afternoon, Amber. Attorneys for a landfill were in an Estill County courtroom today asking a judge to dismiss a lawsuit against them. Earlier this year, the EPA found 4 violations regarding the disposal of radioactive waste at the Blue Ridge landfill. At the hearing, attorneys representing the landfill said the lawsuit did not have enough evidence in it. The judge ruled the motion was premature, and the discovery phase of the case will start after Labor Day. The latest round of class action concussion lawsuits against the NCAA and major college football conferences have been filed, and it includes 3 Kentucky universities, UK, Louisville, and Murray State. Former Wildcat Demario Ford, who was at Kentucky from 2004 to 09, joined the latest round of suits yesterday. He's seeking damages from the SEC and the NCAA because he says he was forced to return to play after being diagnosed with concussions. We'll have more on the lawsuit filed on WKYT News at 5. That's a quick look at some of the news in progress. Amber and Jennifer, back to you.
Thank you, Sam. Now to stories making headlines across the nation at 4. Donald Trump follows his whirlwind Mexico trip and immigration speech with campaign stops today in the critical state of Ohio.
The Republican nominee's immigration proposals are still the talk today, and not just from the Clinton campaign. Some members of Trump's Hispanic Advisory Council are walking away. Greg Boswell reports.
Vice President Joe Biden stepped in for Hillary Clinton on the campaign trail Thursday and said Donald Trump doesn't understand the working man.
This is a guy born with a silver spoon in his mouth that now he's choking on because his foot's in his mouth along with the spoon.
Also campaigning in Ohio, Donald Trump stuck to his trademark issue, immigration.
We're going to build the wall. Mexico's going to pay for the wall.
After a closed-door meeting with Mexican President Peña Nieto on Wednesday, Trump delivered a hardline speech on the topic in Phoenix.
Anyone who has entered the United States illegally is subject to deportation.
Up to half of Trump's Hispanic Advisory Council have quit or say they'll quit after listening to his speech.
There are several individuals immediately after Donald Trump's speech last night that were just, to use their term, disgusted. It was the tone, it was the dehumanizing, it was the unrealistic idea of self-deportation.
There's also controversy about details of Wednesday's meeting. President Peña Nieto claims he clearly told Trump that Mexico has no intention of paying for a wall. Trump says payment wasn't discussed.
When he sat down and he looked President Peña Nieto in the eye, he didn't have the guts to bring that up.
The Clinton campaign is now going after Trump in Arizona as well.
When Mexico sends its people, they're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime.
The campaign announced it is spending $6 million to air this ad in the state. Craig Boswell, CBS News, the White House.
Trump's trip to Mexico is paying off in one area. The campaign announced it raised more than $5 million in online donations Wednesday, with a big chunk of that coming in while Trump was meeting with Mexican President Peña Nieto. Those donations were all $200 or less, and they do not include money that came in via phone calls or the mail.
Hermine is now a hurricane that's barreling toward the Gulf Coast of Florida. It's expected to make landfall tonight near Apalachicola. Earlier today, forecasters issued a hurricane warning for part of the Florida Panhandle. Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey will give you a virtual view of the hurricane at 4:15, and WKYT meteorologist Micah Harris joins us from Destin, Florida on WKYT News at 4:30. The U.S. government may be running out of money to fight the Zika virus. The fight for funding in WKYT Money Watch.
And we'll tell you the best vehicles for putting in car seats. That's next. Welcome back in. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention says money set aside to fight the Zika virus is running out. That begins today's Money Watch. The CDC has sent about $35 million to Florida, which is only halfway through peak mosquito season. Senate Republicans have scheduled a vote for next Tuesday on $1.1 billion for Zika funding.
Democrats oppose that package because it excludes Planned Parenthood from the list of providers that would get the new money.
If you have ever installed a car seat, you know it can be pretty tricky, but a new report finds the process has become easier in cars released in the past year.
As WKYT explains, that could mean better chances for keeping children safe during a crash.
Jim and Peggy Trepolitis just had their first child, John, on Sunday. The new parents were dreading the idea of installing a car seat, but found out it was a snap.
I couldn't believe how easy it was.
Trepolitis owns a new Lexus RX. The SUV earned the top rating in a new study from the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety, along with the 2016 Toyota Prius and 2017 Audi Q7. Researchers looked at latch hardware, which stands for lower anchors and tethers for children.
When the latch hardware is difficult to use, parents can make a lot of mistakes, which can leave their children less well protected in the event of a crash.
Engineer Jessica Jermakian says the most important factor is where the latch hardware is placed.
So a common problem with the lower anchors is that they're buried too deep in the seat.
Why does easy access matter?
So when it's this easy to find, parents can find it and attach the connector.
All the vehicles that got a perfect score allow users to place the car seat in the middle position. Research shows it's the safest spot for a child to sit. The cars also had to have tether anchors in easy-to-find locations that are clearly labeled.
Right now, I'm extremely happy.
Happy because his car is one of the best for buckling in his precious cargo. WKYT, CBS News, Washington.
This year, most of the 170 cars evaluated got a good or acceptable rating, compared to last year when the majority got a poor or marginal rating.
I'm Deanne Stevens, out and about today at So Many Choices, where we are kicking it with Kylie. We'll explain what that means when we return here on WKYT.
Long Labor Day weekend just about upon us. We've got some great looking weather across the Bluegrass State, but up next we'll take you to a spot that is getting ready to get hammered by a hurricane. A virtual bird's eye view of Hermine in just a moment.
Now, your hour-by-hour forecast with Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey.
Happy Thursday, everyone. The day before our big Labor Day weekend kicks off, and we have some fine weather across the Bluegrass State. We look outside WKYT Weather Garden there, and the blue skies, a little bit of cloud cover bubbling up this afternoon. Temperatures upper 70s to around 80. Humidity, thank you. You're coming down. You're going to continue to drop. Northeasterly winds at around 14 miles an hour. That northeasterly wind giving us the nice weather across Kentucky. And if anything, those numbers are going to continue to drop as we go through the next day or so into the mid and upper 70s northeastern Kentucky, where we've had a little bit of cloud cover. But look at the air to our north. This is where the air is coming from. 74 Indianapolis, Dayton 73. It's 69 into the Windy City of Chicago, and that is the air that is blowing toward the Bluegrass State as we go through the next couple of days. Defender Radar Network, you've had a nice little run. Get on out of here. Let's go to the Gulf of Mexico, where we have a hurricane. This is Hermine, and that is ready to come ashore as we go into later tonight, not too far away from Apalachicola. We'll show you that in greater detail in just a few minutes. Back here on the ranch, it is absolutely gorgeous for your Friday. 50s to start, mid-70s to end. Here we go for the evening ahead. Quick drop in your back porch thermometer toward the low and mid-60s by the time 10, 11 o'clock rolls around. Say hello to the 50s tomorrow morning and hello to lows. Look at that. Noontime tomorrow, 72 degrees showing up. 5 o'clock tomorrow, mid to upper 70s. High school football fans, for the first few weeks we've been sweating it out. That is not going to be the case tomorrow night unless it's a barn burner of a game where you are, and you may be doing a little sweating there. Low and mid 50s Saturday morning. Saturday afternoon numbers continue to come in, maybe a smidge cooler with upper 70s to low 80s, depending on exactly where you are. And we set the stage for another night in the 50s as we go into Sunday morning. Let's go back to Hermine. This is now a hurricane. It is going to come ashore later tonight. Look at the spiraling bands around this system. Let's look at a future radar. And this is Hermine at 7 o'clock this evening. Here's Panama City, Tallahassee, the Apalachicola area. Somewhere around Apalachicola is where we're going to get this storm to come ashore. So let's take you into a bird's eye view. Here is the coast. Here's the eye of our hurricane that by 9, 10, 11 o'clock or so tonight is just now coming on shore by 11 o'clock. And you see how as this eye moves over top of Apalachicola, everything goes calm. And then all of a sudden you get the back edge of the storm to kind of whiplash on through. By tomorrow morning, check this out. Basically all over across the Gulf Coast of Florida. But look at where that storm is by then. Still has a nice presentation with it spiraling into Georgia. That's going to work its way up the eastern seaboard. Don't be surprised if this doesn't make its way all the way toward the Jersey coastline or maybe into southern parts of New England on Labor Day. Not going to impact our weather, thank goodness. 77 tomorrow, upper 70s, low 80s Saturday. We'll steam it up next week with a familiar pattern with a daily threat for thunderstorms. Let's check in now on the traffic situation and Officer Don.
There's a collision downtown. This is at Rose and Vine Street. It has part of Vine Street blocked right now. Police are working to clear that. They're seeing an impact there. Drive time's okay to Nicholasville, 16 minutes. To Paris, about 19. Now back to you in the studio.
Thank you, Don. A community is coming together to help a Central Kentucky girl who's battling leukemia.
Deanne Stevens is out and about today with more on Kicking It with Kylie. Hi, Deanne.
Hey, good afternoon, guys. We are here at So Many Choices, a very special place with a very special young lady. Kylie Tyson is with us and her mother, Meredith. And Kylie, we are talking about Kicking It with Kylie today because something very cool is happening here at So Many Choices. You got a special community rallying around you right now because you're going through treatments for leukemia. Talk a bit about that and what's happening with you right now, Kylie.
Well, right now I'm going through a 2-year and 3-month plan for treatments to get rid of the leukemia, and I just got out of the hospital for 42 days.
How are you feeling right now, Kylie?
I feel good.
Yeah, and you look beautiful, and it's so nice to be out and about with people instead of being in the hospital. I know they're taking wonderful care of you. What is life like for you right now? You can't be in school, right? But you can be here and see some of your friends around the gym?
Yes, especially Kim and Bev.
Yeah. and we're going to meet Kim and Bev in just a moment. You'll understand why she has that beautiful smile on her face when you meet them. Meredith, Kylie's mother. Let's talk about Kylie and the type of leukemia she has.
She has a very rare form of leukemia. It's called blastic plasmacytoid dendritic cell neoplasm. She's the 26th adolescent in the world to ever have this strain of leukemia. So we were very lucky that they were able to diagnose it as quickly as they did. Mm-hmm. They found it after doing multiple skin biopsies and sending it off to numerous different labs to determine this.
Then she immediately started treatment, and where is she now?
She's at UK Children's with Dr. Wagner, who's the chief of pediatric oncology up there. He works also with some different oncologists around the country to determine the best treatment plan for her.
And one of the treatment plans is the community who's just really rallying around you guys, like the folks here at So Many Choices. You heard Kylie say Bev and Kim. Well, this is Bev and Kim over here, and they're doing some really special projects for Kylie, who spends some time in the gym here at Legacy, which is part of So Many Choices. You guys are doing bracelets, you're doing T-shirts. Tell us how you started doing this.
Well, they're a part of our family too, and it kind of came up that we wanted to do something to help with the medical bills. And so we decided that if you buy a shirt, $10, 100% of all the proceeds go to pay the help with their medical bills. We don't want any money from it. We do it all. I'm so proud too that my daughter chose to make some bracelets, and they're $12, and 100% of all the proceeds goes to their medical bills. So we're all just kind of chipping in to help them out.
Yeah, so cool. Bev, how do folks get those T-shirts and bracelets?
They can either call the store or they can come here and order one. We have several sizes made up, ready to go. So just let us know how many you need and we'll get them to you.
Okay, more from Kylie, her mom, Bev and Kim, everybody here. Get your shirt and help out this special young lady as we are kicking it with Kylie. I'm Deanne Stevens, out and about at So Many Choices. Back to you guys.
We wish her all the best in her fight. Thanks, Deanne. Technology may help you lead a healthier life. That's ahead on WKYT News at 4.
Tomorrow's Mega Millions jackpot is $92 million, and Saturday's Powerball jackpot has climbed to $170 million.
It's time for Better Living, health, education, and consumer news that impacts your life. Bimbo Bakeries is issuing a recall for Entenmann's Little Bites snacks. The recall comes after consumers complained of finding plastic bits in the dessert treats. At least one injury has been reported. The recall affects Little Bites fudge brownies and chocolate chip muffins. All of the affected products were shipped to retailers in at least 30 states, including Kentucky, within the past 2 weeks. Bimbo Bakeries says the problem has been traced to a manufacturing failure at a contractor's bakery in Illinois. You can find more information on this recall on WKYT.com. A review of more than 200 studies over 2 decades finds the internet, cell phones, and computers can all help people adopt a healthier lifestyle. Researchers found software tools can coach people to improve their diet, lose weight, and stop smoking and drinking alcohol. A new study finds children whose parents suffer from a psychiatric disease are more likely to be violent or attempt suicide. The risk is greatest among children whose parents have an antisocial personality disorder, abuse marijuana, or have tried suicide themselves. 2/3 of Americans say pharmacies should not sell tobacco, and 50% of smokers agree. The CDC says tobacco-free policies can improve health awareness for smokers. Smoking is the leading cause of preventable death in the U.S., killing almost 500,000 Americans every year. The news is just getting started. Here are Sam, Dick, and Amber Philpott with what's ahead at 4:30.